There you are. I'm Lily.
And I'm Sam. Really glad you're here today. New episode every single day. Subscribe now so you never miss one.
Before we get into today's story, let us tell you what's waiting in this episode, because this one is incredibly practical.
We're talking about how to talk about yourself in English. Not in a nervous, rambling means talking for a long time without clear direction or structure way. In a clear, natural, confident way.
I'm going to give you 5 essential words and a structure that works in every situation, from a casual party to a job interview to a formal presentation.
And I'm going to tell you about the time I had to introduce myself in a meeting and spent 4 minutes talking about completely irrelevant. Irrelevant means not connected to what's important or appropriate in the situation. Things, including my dog, in a professional meeting about a work project.
There are expressions coming that make introducing yourself feel natural instead of scripted. Scripted means planned word for word in advance, sounding unnatural and rehearsed.
We've got the formality scale, common mistakes, including some grammar errors that almost everyone makes, a quiz, and shadowing.
And there's a metaphor about windows that's going to completely change how you think about sharing who you are. Stay with us. By the end of this episode, you're going to know exactly what to say the next time someone asks, "So, tell me about yourself."
Which is the question that is haunted. Haunted means followed and troubled, causing persistent anxiety. Me, my entire life.
So, Sam, tell me about the meeting.
Okay. So about 6 months ago, I joined a new project team at work. First meeting, 8 people I'd never met, and at the start, the manager said, let's go around the room. Go around the room means each person takes a turn, and everyone introduce themselves.
Simple enough.
Simple enough, except my brain immediately started calculating. Calculating means working things out, planning, how long I had, what to say, how much was too much, whether to mention my job title first. Job title means your official position name, or my experience first, or...
Sam.
I know. And by the time it got to me, I had overprepared. Overprepared means prepared so much that you actually perform worse because you're too in your head, and underdelivered. Underdelivered means didn't produce the result you were capable of. I said my name, my role, and then completely lost the thread. Lost the thread means lost the logical flow of what you were saying, and started talking about how I'd been working from home a lot lately and how my routine had changed and how my dog, Biscuit, had actually been really helpful for structure during the pandemic. Pandemic means a global outbreak of infectious disease affecting many countries. And then I described Biscuit for approximately 90 seconds to 8 strangers who were there to talk about a marketing project.
Sam, Biscuit again?
Biscuit is always there when I'm nervous. He's my comfort topic. Comfort topic means a subject you default to when you feel anxious because it feels safe.
And how did it end?
The manager said very kindly, "Great, and what's your role on the project?" Which was her way of gently redirecting. Redirecting means steering back to the relevant topic, me back to the point. I wanted to disappear under the table.
And that's exactly why this episode exists, because talking about yourself in English clearly, appropriately means in a way that suits the situation, confidently is a skill, and like every skill, it can be learned. Introduce, background, personality, interest, strength. 5 words, all about talking about yourself in English, and that's exactly what we're talking about today.
I'm ready, and Biscuit is not invited to this episode.
Let's start with introduce. To introduce yourself means to tell someone who you are for the first time, your name, your role. Relevant. Relevant means connected and appropriate to the situation. Context. The key word is relevant. You introduce what's appropriate for this specific situation, not everything about yourself.
Which is where I went wrong. I introduced everything, including a dog.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Sam, and I'm working on the design side of this project. Clean, relevant, done. She introduced herself confidently and immediately established means created and made clear, what she brought to the team.
Introduce yourself with intention. Intention means a clear purpose, knowing what you want to achieve. That's the whole thing. Know why you're introducing yourself and what you want the other person to know.
Now, background. Your background is your history, where you're from, what you've studied, what experience you have. It's the context. Context means the circumstances and information that help make something understandable, that explains who you are today.
I'm originally from the North, but I've been living in London for about 5 years. That's background. She has a background in engineering, but moved into project management 3 years ago. Background explains the journey. The journey means how you got from where you were to where you are now.
I have a background in marketing with a focus on digital content. Digital content means material created and shared online. Or, my background is quite varied. Varied means diverse, including many different things. I've worked in education, technology, and now communications.
Background is the why behind the what. Why am I a content creator? Because my background is in communications and I've always been interested in storytelling. Storytelling means the art of conveying information through narrative.
Now, personality. Your personality is the combination of qualities and characteristics. Characteristics means distinctive features that make you who you are, how you think, how you behave, how you relate to others.
I'd describe myself as curious and collaborative. Collaborative means enjoying working together with others toward a shared goal. Or, she has a warm, approachable. Approachable means easy to talk to and not intimidating, personality that makes everyone feel comfortable immediately.
And here's something important. When you describe your personality in English, specific is always better than generic. Generic means vague and applicable to anyone, not distinctive. I'm a people person. Generic. I tend to ask a lot of questions because I'm genuinely curious about how things work. Specific and revealing. Revealing means giving real insight into who you are.
I'm hardworking. Generic. I tend to stay late on projects I care about because I find it hard to walk away. Walk away means leave, stop working on something, when something isn't quite right yet. Specific. Same quality, completely different impression. Impression means the effect you have on someone.
Now, interest. Your interests are the things you enjoy, care about, and spend your time on, both inside and outside of work. Sharing interests humanizes. Humanizes means makes more human and relatable you. It makes you a person, not just a job title.
Outside of work, I'm really into means very enthusiastic about, very interested in, photography and hiking. Or, I've always been passionate about language. It's actually why I ended up in communications.
And the best interests to share are ones that connect to something relevant, either to the situation, the person you're talking to, or something that reveals. Reveals means shows, something genuine. Genuine means real and sincere about your character.
I'm interested in storytelling in all its forms. That's what drew me. Drew me means attracted me, pulled me, to this work. That connects my interest to my professional context naturally.
And finally, strength. A strength is something you're particularly good at, a quality or skill that you excel at. Excel means perform at a high level, do exceptionally well. When you talk about yourself, mentioning a strength, especially with evidence, evidence means something that proves or demonstrates, is one of the most powerful things you can do.
One of my strengths is breaking down complex ideas. Complex ideas means complicated concepts into simple, clear language. Or, I think my greatest strength is that I stay calm under pressure. Under pressure means in stressful or demanding situations.
And remember, name it, then prove it. We said this in the job interview episode. Don't just say, I'm organized. Say, I tend to be quite organized. I work best when I have a clear structure, which is why I always start new projects by mapping out. Mapping out means creating a clear plan or overview, the full timeline. Timeline means a schedule showing when things will happen.
Name it, prove it. Every time.
Here's the metaphor for today. Think of talking about yourself like opening a window. You choose which window to open, how wide to open it, and what you let people see. In a casual situation, you open a small window. Warm light, a glimpse. Glimpse means a brief, partial view of who you are. In a professional situation, you open a different window, the one that shows your relevant background, your strengths, your purpose. In a formal situation, you open the window carefully with precision. Precision means exactness and accuracy, showing exactly what the audience needs to see. The house is the same, you're always you, but you choose which window and how wide depending on who's outside.
My problem in that meeting was that I opened every window simultaneously. Simultaneously means all at the same time, including the one that looks into Biscuit's corner of the living room.
Now, expressions. First, I'm originally from. This is the most natural way to talk about where you're from. I'm originally from Brazil, but I've been living in Canada for 3 years. Originally signals means indicates, shows, that you've moved or changed since then.
I'm originally from a small town in the north. Not many people have heard of it, but I moved to the city for university and never really left.
Next, I grew up. This connects your present to your past in a personal, human way. I grew up in a family of teachers, so education has always been important to me.
I grew up being really curious about how things worked. I was always taking things apart. Taking things apart means disassembling, separating into components, to see what was inside. That curiosity is still very much there.
Next, I tend to. This is one of the most natural ways to describe your personality or habits. Tend to means usually do, generally behave in a certain way. I tend to ask a lot of questions. I find that understanding the why makes everything else clearer.
I tend to take on too much and then figure it out as I go. Figure it out means find a solution through the process of doing, which is both a strength and a flaw. Flaw means an imperfection or weakness. Acknowledging a flaw, honestly and lightly, actually makes you more credible. Credible means believable and trustworthy, not less. It shows self-awareness. Self-awareness means understanding of your own character and tendencies. I wish I'd known that in the meeting. Instead of describing Biscuit, I could have said, I tend to over-prepare, which sometimes means I lose the thread. I'm working on being more concise. Concise means expressing things clearly in few words.
Next, I've always been passionate about. This connects your identity to something you care about deeply and shows continuity. Continuity means consistency over time, the quality of being unchanged. I've always been passionate about design. Even as a kid, I was constantly rearranging. Rearranging means organizing differently my room.
I've always been passionate about storytelling, whether that's through writing, conversation, or just a really good podcast.
And one thing people don't know about me is, this is a brilliant expression for casual introductions. It's unexpected, memorable. Memorable means worth remembering, staying in the mind, and immediately creates curiosity.
One thing people don't know about me is that I trained as an architect. Trained as means studied and qualified in a field before switching to communications. So I think about structure a lot, in buildings and in stories.
That is a fantastic introduction line. Specific, surprising, relevant, and immediately memorable.
I should use that instead of Biscuit next time.
Now, 3 levels. Casual. You're at a party and someone asks, "So, what do you do?"
I work in content. Content means material created for an audience, like videos, articles, or podcasts. Mostly digital. But outside of work, I'm really into podcasting and photography. I grew up wanting to be a filmmaker. Filmmaker means someone who makes films. So I've always been drawn to means attracted to, naturally interested in, anything visual or story-based.
Warm, personal, specific. Opens a window without overwhelming. Overwhelming means giving too much, more than someone can comfortably receive.
Professional level.
You're in a meeting and you need to introduce yourself to a new team.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lily. I head up. Head up means lead, be in charge of, the communications team. My background is in journalism. Journalism means the profession of reporting news and information, and content strategy. Content strategy means a plan for creating and distributing content to achieve specific goals. I've been with the company for 3 years, and I'm really passionate about making complex ideas accessible. Accessible means easy to understand and reach to wider audiences. I tend to work best when I'm collaborating closely with other teams, so I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
That is a perfect professional introduction. Background, passion, strength, working style, all in under a minute.
And formal level, you're giving a speech or a presentation and you need to introduce yourself to a large audience. Good morning. My name is Lily and I'm the head of communications at Oops English. With over a decade means a period of 10 years, of experience spanning journalism, digital media, and organizational communications. Organizational communications means the way information flows within a company or institution. I've had the privilege means a special honor or advantage, of working at the intersection. Intersection means the point where different things meet and overlap, of storytelling and strategy. Today, I'd like to share some insights. Insights means deep understanding, valuable observations on how language shapes. Shapes means influences and forms the way we connect.
I want Lily to introduce me at every meeting for the rest of my life.
Quiz time. Ready?
Ready.
Number 1, to tell someone who you are for the first time, name, role, relevant context, what's the verb?
To introduce yourself.
Number 2, your history, where you're from, what you've studied, what experience you have, what's the word?
Background.
Number 3, the combination of qualities that make you who you are, how you think, behave, relate to others, what's the word?
Personality.
Number 4, the things you enjoy, care about, and spend your time on. What are they called?
Interests.
Number 5, something you're particularly good at, a quality or skill you excel at. What's the word?
A strength.
Number 6, you're originally from another city. How do you say it naturally?
I'm originally from, and then the place.
Number 7, you want to describe a habit or tendency of yours. You say,
I tend to, and then the behavior. I tend to ask a lot of questions. I tend to take on too much.
Number 8, wrong, I am engineer. Correct version?
I'm an engineer. Always an article before your job title.
Number 9, wrong, I have 30 years. Correct version?
I'm 30 years old. Or just, I'm 30. Age uses to be, never to have.
And number 10, the final question. It's 6 months ago. Sam walks into the meeting room, 8 strangers. The manager says, let's go around the room and everyone introduce themselves. Using today's vocabulary, give Sam's perfect introduction. No biscuit.
Sam pauses, then clearly and confidently. Hi, everyone. I'm Sam. My background is in communications and content creation. I've been working in this space means field or area of work, for about 4 years. I tend to think in stories, so I'm most useful when a project needs a clear narrative. Narrative means a coherent story or explanation, or when something complex needs to be simplified for an audience. One thing people don't know about me is that I originally trained as a graphic designer, so I bring a visual sensibility. Visual sensibility means an instinctive awareness of how things look and how design communicates, to everything I work on. I'm really looking forward to working with this team. Clean, relevant, confident. One window, opened exactly the right amount. No dogs.
That was perfect. Specific, structured, warm, and completely biscuit-free.
6 months of growth right there.
Shadowing time. Say these out loud. Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself.
Slowly. In-tro-duce. introduce yourself.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Sam.
She introduced herself clearly and the whole room paid attention.
Introduce yourself with intention. Know what you want the other person to know. Open the right window.
I'm originally from a small town in the north. I'm originally from Brazil, but I've been in London for 3 years.
I'm originally from. Natural, warm, gives context without over-explaining.
My background is in marketing and communications. She has a background in engineering but moved into management.
My background is in the journey that explains who you are today. Always relevant, always intentional.
I tend to ask a lot of questions. Curiosity is just how I work. I tend to stay late on projects I really care about.
I tend to. The most natural way to describe your personality. Specific and real.
One of my strengths is breaking down complex ideas simply. One of my strengths is staying calm when things get complicated.
One of my strengths is name it, then prove it. Every time.
I've always been passionate about storytelling. I've always been passionate about design, even as a child.
I've always been passionate about connects your identity to something you genuinely care about. Authentic and memorable.
Come back and say these phrases out loud again. Pause, rewind, repeat. Practice your introduction out loud, not in your head, out loud, because that's where the words become yours.
You know what I find most interesting about talking about yourself? Most people find it either too easy, they talk too much and share too little, or too hard, they freeze and say almost nothing. The window metaphor is everything. You're not trying to show the whole house. You're choosing one window, opening it the right amount, and letting the light do the work. And the more you practice, in English, out loud, in real situations, the more naturally you'll know which window to open and how wide.
I opened every window, including the attic. Attic means the space directly under the roof of a building in that meeting. But I know which window to open now, and it's not the Biscuit window. The Biscuit window stays closed in professional settings.
Professional settings only. He gets his own episode otherwise.
Now, tell us in the comments, how do you introduce yourself in English? Write 2 or 3 sentences about yourself right now in the comments. We read every single one and we want to meet you.
And if this episode helped you, please hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who freezes when someone says, "Tell me about yourself." Give them the window. Also, our last episode was all about being a good listener in English. Engaged, validate, follow-up question. A really important one. Link is right there.
See you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye. And to the 8 people in that meeting 6 months ago, I'm sorry about Biscuit. He's a great dog, just not relevant to the marketing project. I know that now.
See you tomorrow.